We all want to sell more. We all want to be more effective at what we do. Today we're going to talk about 4 ways that you can convince other people to do certain things. Some of them are good ways and some of them are bad. Let's talk about influence, persuasion, manipulation, and coercion. I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to talk to you today about 4 words, 4 ways that we as business owners, as managers, as leaders can, work with our employees. 4 words that talk about how we talk to our employees. But before I do, I want to talk about the importance of words. Now, words mean things, and words may mean different things to different people. So we need to be very aware of how our audience, how our employees understand the words that we're using. For instance, I was leading a workshop and I used a term that I've always used as an academic. I've used the phrase risk-taking and risk-averse. And I referred to people as risk-takers and people as being risk-averse. To me, it's a very academic term. It means just that. It's a description. And honestly, we are risk takers and we're risk averse in different things. I will not ride a roller coaster. I am risk averse. But I might be more of a risk taker when it comes to driving my car or decisions I might make in the office space about what we should or shouldn't do. So we can be risk averse or risk taking depending on the situation we're in. To me, it's just a descriptor. Here's where I failed. I didn't understand that other people see the phrase or the words risk averse as a pejorative, as an insult, as somehow putting them down. Thankfully, I had a friend who let me know that they were upset at my using those words and let me process what was happening. So now I can choose to not use that word, or actually what I've done is I've chosen to define it up front, like I just did with you, that for me, calling something or someone risk averse in certain things is not meant as a negative, it's meant as a descriptive way of talking about how they handle decision making. But we need to understand how other people will hear the words that we use so that we can use them effectively, so that we can have the best impact for what we're trying to do. All that to say, today I want to talk to you about 4 words and 4 ways of managing people. The 4 words are influencing, persuading, manipulating, and coercing. Now, as you think about these 4 words, you might immediately have an opinion about what each of those words are. 2 of them sound pretty positive. Influencing. He's influencing me. He's a great influencer. They've persuaded us into another topic. Persuasion is not a bad thing. Maybe motivating kind of falls into that category. Manipulating and coercion. Oh, they're manipulative. He coerced me. Those sound negative. And quite frankly, when we hear those 4 words, we think positive and negative. I'm here to tell you we can also think about them academically. We can also think about them as effective tools individually in working with our staff, when working with other people as we effectively work to lead. And by the way, this is a message that's important not just for people you work with and people that work for you, but for relating to your customers. Let's talk about these 4 words for a minute. Influencing, in some of these definitions, influencing refers to the ability to affect someone's thoughts, beliefs, or actions through the use of reasoning, evidence, and persuasion, a positive way of communicating, and is based on mutual understanding and respect. Mutual understanding and respect. That actually may not always be the way we use the phrase influence, influencing, or influencer. Do social media influencers have a mutual understanding and respect with you, with me, when they tell us about this amazing bed and breakfast that I'm just staying in and I've got to stay here. This is wonderful. You should stay here too. They're influencers. They're trying to talk to us about an experience they're having. They're influencing us by things that appeal to us. They're trying to influence our thoughts, our beliefs, or our actions, trying to get us to buy something because they're influencing us on what they're experiencing. So they're sharing their experience. Persuading, well, that's convincing someone to take a certain course of action, again, through argumentation and presenting evidence, but it's more of a give and take. It's more of an intellectual form of influencing. It's very active. I'm trying to persuade you that this is something you should do more often than not, counter to another choice. I'm going to try to convince you to buy a car, as opposed to not buying a car. Or more often than not, you're in the mood to buy a car. You're in the market to buy a car. And I'm going to convince you, persuade you to buy this one with these really cool features compared to this other one. In my case, people persuade me to buy cameras. And so they'll talk to me about features like in-body image stabilization and how I get 8 f-stops worth of additional stabilization in an image. Means nothing to you. Means stuff to me. They're persuading me through their use of words. Persuasion, convincing me about something. Now, manipulation, that tends to be negative, and we really actually hardly ever will talk about this as a positive. It's using deceit or trickery or some form of exploitation to control or influence your thoughts. They're trying to get you to, well, do something, we would call it shady, snake oil salesman. They're going to tell you if you drink this snake oil, and believe it or not, snake oil salesmen sold snake oil, or at least they said it was snake oil. They said this will do certain things. This will heal all that ails you if you take this snake oil. They were snake oil salesmen. They misled you. They manipulated you into buying something through conceit, through trickery, through lies. And then finally, there's coercion. Coercing is using threats, intimidation, or some other effort of force to make someone do something that they otherwise would not want to do, something against their will. It's a very aggressive form of manipulating. I'm going to convince you to do something. Manipulation is deceit or trickery, exploitation, whereas coercion is forcing, compelling. Now, where would we see these in the workplace? Ideally, you have a great idea at work. You're going to do something really cool, and you want to influence others to do it with you, so you'll show them the value of it. If it's a new way of doing something, maybe you're going to demonstrate it. You're going to show how doing it your way actually makes it better for everybody. Now, coercion, quite frankly, this is one we may have to rely on occasionally in the workplace. In the workplace, you may have to tell somebody, here's the deal. If you do not do this, I will have to fire you. That's a threat, right? And I don't mean to laugh about firing, but we view it as coercion as a bad thing, but you may have to do that. You may have to have a threat of some action against someone if they don't conform to the standards, the guidelines, the performance expectations in the workplace. We need to understand that every one of these may have a role as we're working through the workplace. Now, we talk about 4 words, and I talked about 2 of them seem more positive and 2 seem more negative. And the 2 positive ones are the ones you really want to be focusing on if you're in a small business and you're in the business of selling. Doesn't matter what you're selling products, selling services. You want to be seen as someone they can trust, as someone that's conveying something that's in their interest. So you're going to be talking to your customer, persuading them about the value of what you offer. And this is where those social media influencers may come into play again. I would love to have you leave comments in the section below of instances where you have experienced any one of these 4, where a salesperson perhaps has tried to coerce you into buying something, has used trickery, manipulation to get you to buy something. I'd like to read those. I really want to read in the comments section below about those outstanding influencers, those outstanding efforts of persuasion where when you look back at it, not only do you believe that they persuaded you, they influenced you to buy something, but you retained that level of trust in that person because you felt they were trustworthy and what you purchased, whether it was a service or a product, what you purchased met everything that they conveyed to you. It met those standards and you were happy. Share those experiences. Until the next time, I'm Steve Brady, the Executive Director at the Covation Center. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.